Hey, everybody.
Hello. We appreciate everybody coming out for the 8 o'clock meeting. Y'all take care. Have a great day. Good morning, Statesboro. The time is now 9 a.m. The date is February the 1st, 2022. We will call to order the Mayor and City Council meeting for the city of Statesboro. We'll have our invocation and pledge of allegiance by Councilmember Phil Boyd.
You know, our heads. Lord, we are dealing with a nation that is struggling with truth. We have folks that are putting their selfish intentions before community, and our traditional methods of getting information have been muddled and confused. Help us today find the truth and sort through all the challenging information that's being put out there. Be with the council today as we make decisions for the city of Statesboro and for our citizens moving forward into the future. Thank you for today. Thank you for this group, and thank you for the city of Statesboro as it nourishes and provides a place for all of us to live, work, play, and move forward together. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll come down to our recognition and public presentation. We have a presentation of a proclamation recognizing February the 18th, 2022 as Arbor Day. The proclamation reads as follows. A proclamation by the Mayor and City Council of Statesboro, Georgia, Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable source, giving us paper and wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, I, Jonathan McCullough, Mayor of the City of Statesboro, do hereby proclaim February 18th, 2022 as Arbor Day in the City of Statesboro, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant and care for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this first day of February in the year 2022. I give you guys a lift. I need you to hold up, sorry. There you go.
1, 2, 3. Ready, 1, 2, 3.
That's it. All right, thank you. Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, City of Statesboro. Every year we come and give an update on our trees in the City of Statesboro, and we also give a little history of Arbor Day. So you know the history of Arbor Day already. So I'm going to do a little something different. We're going to start it off with a tree quiz. This is just famous trees. Mayor, I'm gonna get you to help me call on the council members. This is gonna be, you recognize whoever raises the hand first, because I'll be reading.
Okay, good deal.
All right, this is famous trees, Phil. Bert.
That's what happens when you're in District 1.
All right, so it could be local trees or old trees or some trees that are in history. Most of us have heard of one of these trees, okay? First tree, I lived in Statesboro for many years and was known as the oldest living landmark in Georgia. I made nuts every year, but they were not pecans. Who am I?
Oak tree? Oh, we gotta raise our hand. Show him.
Councilmember Shavers.
I'm just taking a wild guess. Oak?
Oak tree, no, it's close.
Walnut.
Yes, walnut.
Hey,
Yes.
There you go.
y'all heard that?
All right,
There you go.
okay, here's,
Yes.
all right, I was born before the Civil War.
Where was the oak tree? I mean, the walnut tree.
I think it was on the courthouse square or near the, or where was it?
Yeah, right at the corner of North and
Square.
South Main.
That's what I thought, okay.
Cut down in the dead of night.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, me either, yeah. The silence came over the room.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, that was before sunshine laws.
Yeah.
The city council decided to do it because there were people who didn't want them to do it, and they got the police to do it in the middle of the night.
Oh, I'm glad we got a good
Many
council.
years ago.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
Okay, I was born before the Civil War, and I'm still alive at Hampton University in Virginia. In 1863, the first Southern reading of a famous proclamation was made here. I am named after this famous document. Who am I?
Is that the Emancipation Treaty?
That is the Emancipation
I didn't
Treaty.
know it
There
was
you go.
I didn't even know it
All right.
was such thing.
I ain't trying to be funny, but you folks should have known that.
I know.
3 more. Got 3 easy ones left. I live in England, and I am over 350 years old. Gravity was around before me, but I helped my owners discover it. Who am I?
Oh, that should be, come on, council.
What is Sir Isaac?
Yeah, what kind of tree was he on?
Apple tree.
Apple tree.
Yeah.
All right, now we got to go way back.
Okay.
All right, I lived in the Middle East in a very nice garden in ancient times. Eating my forbidden fruit came at a great cost.
Uh-oh.
Got
There you go.
the biblical
Knowledge of
scholars.
good and evil.
Yes,
There you go.
tree of knowledge of good and evil. Last one. Last one. I may have been real, but some say I wasn't. But I know this. The boy who cut me down could not tell a lie. Who am I?
Oh, come on now.
Cherry tree.
Check.
Sorry.
There you go, Councilman.
What is cherry tree?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. John, I like the way you put it like Jeopardy. You did it like.
How much do you owe?
Right, $500.
There you go.
All right, so let me give you a quick update on what the tree board has been doing. We just, Mr. Henry led the efforts to get to have our Arbor Day, and with Amanda at the post office, the oak has been replanted. I've noticed that some of you were there to watch that go in. Robert's, I don't think Richard Smiley's here today, but his crew did a great job planting that, so he's been busy for us. He's also been busy on Park Avenue and College Avenue. If you've seen those trees going in, so if you see him, tell him he's doing a good job. Robert Siemens just did a tree canopy report for us. City of Statesboro's tree canopy is at 42%, which we're proud of. And last, our major project for this year is going to be the 4-H tree trail. Councilwoman Barr's been helping push this through too. We're getting all the trees identified on the trail. They've been done. Mr. Henry and I identified them. We're going to have a plaque for each tree so that 4-H students and anybody else can walk down the street and learn what type of tree that is. They'll be able to identify them. So we're proud of that effort. And I'm going to ask Robert Siemens to come up and speak on behalf of the Georgia Forestry Commission. And
That'll move us into agenda item B, Rob.
yeah,
Good.
thank you.
Morning, Mayor and Council. Glad to be before y'all again. Robert Siemens, Georgia Forestry Commission, and today I'm here to present your 29th Tree City USA Award. Tree City USA is a national recognition program that began in 1976 and is sponsored by the Arbor Day Foundation in partnership with the U.S. Forestry Service, National Association of State Foresters, and Georgia Forestry Commission here in the state of Georgia. By meeting 4 fundamental standards, the City of Statesboro has qualified for Tree City USA one more time. Just so that you know what these standards are, keeping them in the forefront. Number 1, you have to maintain a tree board or department. Tree board is in place and functioning well. And a little tidbit of information there. You have 4 trained arborists sitting on your tree board.
Okay.
You have to have a tree care ordinance in place, which we do, very good ordinance. You have to have a community forestry program with an annual per capita of at least $2 per capita per person that is a resident of the City of Statesboro. Right now, City of Statesboro is around $5.50 per person. And you have to have a Arbor Day Proclamation and Observance. Step 1 this morning for the 30th year is now in place. We have this year's proclamation to go forward on. One of the things I would encourage this year is I'll be working with the tree board in trying to get a growth award in Tree City USA. That is a very big accomplishment. We have some stuff that they're working on that will qualify. We just have to complete it. What do trees do for us? Trees clean the air, absorb pollution, and help with health problems. Trees absorb carbon dioxide and provide life-giving oxygen. Shade from trees cool the urban landscape. Water vapor given off through transpiration adds to the cooling influence of trees. Stormwater runoff can be reduced by tree canopies as much as 65%, reducing flooding and the need for expensive facilities. With that being said, trees have a major impact on our environment. We're all hearing that now with the global warming and other stuff that's going on. Y'all will be seeing more and more of this at your state meetings and hear about it from national meetings as time progresses. Georgia Forestry right now is working very diligently to find the grants to help local municipalities, and we hope to have them in place in the next 2 to 5 years. So we'll be fighting real hard for that to give y'all the opportunities here in Statesboro for more grants. With that, if you have any questions on Tree City USA, I'll be glad to take them. And I'd like to give you this year's 29th flag that has been earned.
Okay. All right,
From the
Council,
City of Statesboro.
Council, any questions? Any discussion? All right, let's go and receive our flag.
Maybe we go one with just the board and then one for all of us, or how should we do it?
Yeah, we're gonna, let's
Either or.
Yeah, let's get a group picture with everybody.
Okay.
Here.
Thank you.
You good?
All right, is everybody standing in a window? I can't hardly see
Do I need a
your
squat?
red shirt.
Yeah, you're so tall.
There we go, okay. Ready, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm gonna do one without the flash. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, let's get the tree board, get on the tree board up there. Go wrong. We appreciate all y'all do to make good things like this happen.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. really apologize.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Ross.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, we'll move down to agenda item 3C, which is a presentation by Richard Deal and Lanier Deal and Proctor on how the city financially ended fiscal year 2021.
Good morning. Apologize for my voice. No fever, but I've got a little sinus drainage. But previously, we met with you at the work session, went in detail with the financial statements, and so I'm just going to kind of point out a few things quickly on the financial statements. Again, just want to thank the council for the opportunity to serve as the city's auditors, and to thank Cindy West and the finance department and all the other city staff for providing the information we needed for the audit. But just kind of in summary, the city is doing well financially. If you look at the government-wide financial statements, in total, the total assets for the city as a whole is $163.8 million, and the net position of the city, that's, you know, after all liabilities, is $121 million net position. You had a $13.1 million or 12% increase in your net position for the year. And your unrestricted net position for the city as a whole is $15.3 million. Of course, the general fund is the main operating account for the city. It had an ending fund balance of $8.5 million. And it had an increase of about $1.4 million or 20% increase in general fund balance. You had the SPLOST funds, the 2013 and the 2019. Those have fund balances in total of $16.3 million, you know, available to be spent on capital projects. You have the T-SPLOST fund balance that has to be spent on road projects, and it had an ending fund balance of $8.6 million. The city's enterprise funds, being the water, sewer, and the gas and sanitation. Your enterprise funds had a net position of $66.2 million. It had an increase of about $2.6 million or 4% increase. So again, overall, the city had a great year for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021. Glad to answer any other questions that you're all having. Again, just thank you.
All right, thank you. Any discussion or comments from council? All
I'd
right,
like to have a copy of that.
What's that?
I'd like to have a copy of that.
You don't have a copy of the financial?
No, just that one you have there, just those highlights.
Okay, yeah, I'll be glad to send you.
Oh, yeah, I've got the,
Yeah.
I've got the,
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Clip
notes.
Yeah, and any time that any of you want to sit down with me, I'd be glad to, you know, go over the financials in detail. I mean, there's a lot of information there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we say thank you for bringing good news.
That's right, that's right. There's nothing like good news. All right, we'll move down to agenda item 4, public comments. Any public comments?
No, Mayor.
All right, we'll move down to agenda item 5, consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda. A part of the consent agenda is the approval minutes for our January 18th, our work session, council minutes, and executive session, as well as consideration of a motion to approve the city of Statesboro fiscal year 2021 audit. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Let it show that agenda item 5 is passed. We'll move down to agenda item 6, public hearing, consideration of a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2022-01, ordinance amending the Statesboro Code of Ordinances, chapter 6, section 6-23, to regulate the licensure of and operation of package sales. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Mayor and Council, this is a new ordinance. This is section 623, and this deals with package stores and distilled spirits package. All the provisions here will be solely for those package stores. So the first one is the proximity requirements. They may not be located within 100 yards of a church building, alcohol treatment center owned and operated by the state, or any county or municipal government or housing authority property, or within 200 yards of a school building, educational building, school grounds, or college campus, or within 1,000 yards of an existing package store. The These are mainly recitals of state law. However, the state law between package stores is 500 yards. We have it at 1,000. And also the other distances can be enhanced. They can be increased under state law, with the exception of college campuses. And this is a weird wrinkle in typical local home rule sort of local option, in that as opposed to being able to increase that distance, which is what typically we do with state law, or what we have the option to do under state law. Under this one, the city itself can either completely diminish or remove that 200 yards. And I just want to clarify that, because I know there were comments made at prior meetings that the state had removed the 200 yards from college campus. That is partially true. What the state has done is allowed local option to remove that 200 yards. I just want to be very clear on that. The hours of operation will be from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday. That's subsection B. Subsection C is offer of products other than distilled spirits for sale. Georgia Administrative Code 56223.04 is cited in this subsection, and it sets out what package stores are allowed to sell under state law. We are proposing to adopt those state laws and enhance it with not permitting lottery tickets and provision of check cashing services at package stores in the city of Statesboro. Open container, our other open container ordinance simply does not address package stores because we didn't have them when it was made. So I just want to put all the liquor store or package store ordinances together. And so this would outlaw open containers on the licensed premises. Building requirements, it can't be a hybrid store. It has to be it's not going to be where there's a hybrid bar next door. What we're talking about here is just the access can only be to the inside and outside of the store, and that the licensed premises must be at least 3,000 square feet of combined showroom and storage space. Zoning districts where it is proposed to be allowed are commercial retail, CBD, which is Central Business District, and highway-oriented commercial HOC. Use of excise tax proceeds. It shall be the stated policy of the city of Statesboro that a minimum of 50% of excise tax proceeds collected from package stores pursuant to section 621. That's a pre-existing code section that allows excise tax on unbroken packages. Be allocated to social services contracts with qualified 501c3s to provide beneficial youth and social services to the city of Statesboro. Like I said, this would need to be done through these social services contracts in order to get around the provisions of the state gratuities clause, which does not allow us to straight give money to charities. They have to do it in exchange for providing a set out stated benefit to the city. Application process. We realize that this is different for a lot of reasons, and for that we are proposing a different sort of application option here. And what that would be is that package store applicants would be able to go ahead and tender their application fee, get everything in order to get a location reservation. At that, they would need to submit everything except the final fire safety inspections and the certificate of occupancy, which will be ready prior to opening and the final issuance of the license. However, what we're talking about here is a reservation, a location reservation, which would forestall any other applications being within 1,000 yards of where the location reservation is granted. The idea here being that we would do the actual mayor and council consideration of the application of the applicant, of the location and all that, prior to them actually making the investment that is going to be necessary to have a 3,000 square foot store in place. It will give them peace of mind to do that, and what would happen once it goes through council, council approves the location reservation, is they would then have 6 months to obtain all city building permits and commence construction or renovation on the site. Then they would have an additional 6 months in which to complete construction and renovation. However, they may petition the city manager for an additional 6 months of time if extenuating circumstances exist as to the construction, and city manager may be able to grant that, and city manager would notify council of that extension. At that point, so basically, from the grant of the reservation, the applicant would have up to 18 months to have the store open. So the 45-day failure to open that we've gone over ad nauseum is not applicable. I mean, we're talking about a year and a half here. So we're just going to leave it at that. And so then what would happen if the location reservation was approved by mayor and council at a regular open meeting? Then upon the applicant tendering the fire and safety inspection and getting the certificate of occupancy, council could then approve final licensure through a consent agenda vote. The idea behind that being that the main consideration of the application was done at the time of the location reservation. Now, Mayor and Council, I put in a couple additional provisions on here that y'all did not tell me to. And the reason why is these are staff recommendations. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. These are in other parts of Chapter 6, but of course, since the rest of Chapter 6 was written prior to the package stores, these provisions do not address package stores, so I put them in 623. Package store licensees shall be subject to all employment provisions contained in section 610. What we're talking about there is alcohol security permits, such as if they have, if they have security guards, they have to have they have to be licensed through us because of our prior issues with bouncers, which we're all aware of here. If we have that, we want that for liquor store security personnel. We also want it to make sure that the employees have tips training and keep that tips training on hand if they are offered. That's training and intervention practices that allows them to spot and spot underage consumers and to not sell to them. We do recommend that we move forward with the alcohol service permit, the alcohol security permits and tips training for employees at package stores. Furthermore, once again, back to the issues with bouncers, we've had issues with insurance, we've had issues with places not having their proper liability insurance and the city being left on the hook in the event something goes wrong. We have put in proof that we have required insurance for other alcohol licensees, and there's no reason that we should not do the same for package stores. So I have that in here as J. And those are the exact same provisions as to commercial general liability and to alcohol liability, aka dram shop insurance, that is contained elsewhere in the section, or elsewhere in the chapter.
All right, thank you, Kane. Is there anyone here to speak for this request?
Do you want me to come up or speak for?
State your name.
Hello, I'm Christina Patterson. I live in District 2, and I'm here in the capacity as co-chair of the City's Youth Commission. And I want to speak specifically in support of provision G, that would give 50% of excise taxes to youth services. I think this is an excellent idea. It shows the city's commitment to serving youth in Statesboro. It's also an excellent investment. Studies show that anywhere from every dollar spent on youth services saves taxpayers between $3 and $8 in terms of improved life outcomes, reduced crime rates, and reduced reliance on social services in the long run. So it's an excellent use of the city's money. The one suggestion that I have, and you could speak to whether state law would allow this, and this might be done through a directive to staff rather than a change to the ordinance, is the language of provision G specifically states 501c3 organizations. And in order to build capacity to serve youth in Statesboro, I would suggest that in practice, that's expanded to include state organized nonprofits that may not have applied for and received federal 501c3 status, as well as city commissions to apply for this contract, such as the Winboro Violence Prevention Task Force, and of course the Youth Commission. Thanks.
Is there anyone to speak for?
Al Chapman, license holder for 15 years in that in Statesboro. I just wanted to touch base on the college campus thing with the state law. The state law put a provision in there because you have campuses of colleges and cities that are so widespread. You have property across the bypass all the way to downtown, and you could have a beachy take, you could have, I don't know where all the property are, maybe y'all can enlighten us on some of that, but if you take those and put them in, it's gonna throw a real wrench in. You're gonna have to take a map, take all these places, and make sure that there's no liquor stores within any of these. And I think we've beat this one before, but you have a college student that's 18 years of age that can go to war, fight for your country. They can take out a $100,000 loan, but they can't make a decision on whether or not to walk into a package store and have the mindset of that, so. That's just my opinion on that. I think we should go with the latter and allow these things to be in the big commercial pieces of property that people have all over town. There's 4-lane highways that you can't even do one across the street, and that's just my opinion on that. If y'all have any comments or anything, I'd love to hear it, but that's just my opinion on that piece.
All right, thank you. All right, is there anyone else to speak for the request? All right, is there anyone here to speak against the request? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any council discussion?
I'll say that, if we're gonna put 50% towards, youth programs, I suggest we put the other 50% towards police. We need more police officers.
Well, before we go down that road, let me clarify with Kane. The excise tax that we'll be getting from alcohol is sales and excise, and that would both go into the general fund. Is that not correct?
It's excise, yes.
And those both
Excise.
go into the general fund.
That's correct.
We can't really legislatively obligate general fund money. So really, this phrase is a little bit inappropriate because every year we do a budget and that's when we assign things. So this can be a suggestion, but we're not bound by what this is written because every year we're charged with putting the budget together. So having that provision in there or starting to nitpick and legislatively put where we're gonna spend money is a really bad idea from a legislative standpoint, since we do this at the budget time.
Any further discussion?
So what do you suggest?
So we should take that out.
Take.
It should be out, yes. Because what you're doing then is you're writing an ordinance that requires the council and we don't know what future councils are going to have to deal with budgetary wise. So, there may be situations. And then so we've had this discussion before many times, when we would pass another tax or when we raised the property tax or the millage rate, it was the same thing. We intended to put the money towards the police, but we can't put that in the ordinance because we can't bind future council's decisions like that. So my recommendation is leave it out. I mean, we can figure out how much money that is, and at budget time, we can certainly talk about adding money to child services or youth services, but it's really inappropriate to write it in the ordinance.
I kind of feel, I feel the same way. If we're gonna put one in, we should put the other in, or don't put either one up. But there's no, I see no reason that all of us are not gonna vote for, putting money towards youth when the budget comes around. Anyway, I agree with that. Either put them both on or take them both off.
Any further discussion by council?
Well, I do believe that, whether we put it in now or later, that there needs to be an allocation of the funding going towards youth. I so wholeheartedly believe in that. So that's my stance on it, but I had a question for Kane about, I didn't know that bouncers needed to be at package stores. Did I hear you correctly when you stated that?
I didn't state that they needed to be. I stated that if, in the event that they hire security guards, that we would require them to have alcohol service permits the same way that we require bouncers at bars to have alcohol service permits. We've had major issues with the O.C.G.A cases because of a bouncer. We took precautions on this before the state did. The state requires those alcohol, that basically requires those bouncer permits now. What, we're just asking, in this situation though, when we have, if it's good for the other establishments, then it should be good for the package stores. We just ask that the employees have tips training, and that in the event they do hire security personnel, that they have those proper city issued permits.
So
It's not required, but if they
They're
choose to.
If
Okay.
they have security. We are not saying y'all have to have security, but if, they gotta be permitted.
yeah, what's happened in the past is we say, okay, employees have to be tips trained, right? And then it's like the servers get tip trained, but this is just a bouncer, and so we're having to legislate people trying to sneak around the system, so which caused massive problems.
Yeah.
So let's not cause more massive problems.
All right, any further discussion by council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, before we decide the language or whether it should be in there, I wasn't clear, Tina, what you were saying about state organizations. It doesn't prohibit state, or doesn't specifically say local.
Oh, it specifically says 501c3. 501c3 is a federal tax designation that a newly organized nonprofit that is organized under state law may not have received yet. So it may not need to be in the language of the ordinance. Could be just a direction to city staff that in addition to federally designated 501c3 organizations that could apply for contracts for these funds, that organizations that were organized under state law as nonprofits but had not yet received 501c3 designation would be eligible, as well as city commissions such as I think the one borough youth violence, or not youth, but violence prevention task force would be one that could possibly step into that space, as well as the youth commission could be eligible. So if it's limited to that 501c3 designation, it's just a little narrower range of who could apply for those contracts.
So we would fix it by just taking out the 501c3 and just leave it with qualified nonprofit organizations? Is that what we would need to do, Kay?
That would be fine if that's what y'all want.
That just makes it a little broader, who all might be eligible.
Sherry, I think we're taking the language out altogether.
No,
Well, I hear
no.
you, I understand that that's what you proposed.
We get that decision.
But I wanted to get that clear before I address the bigger issue. So what if, I mean, I hear your point, and I agree, but if we want to state a goal of spending the amount of money that comes in for this on local services for the youth and or other social services and or police, then might we just say it's the stated policy goal that a minimum that's equivalent to 50% of the excise tax proceeds? Then we can't, like you said, we can't designate in advance. But we could have a stated goal that we intend to commit as much as comes in to these things.
Okay, Karen, let me ask you a question. Can we not dedicate 50%? Can we not do that?
The way it's written is absolutely fine.
Okay.
When we say the stated policy goal, that's fine. We do that all the time. We did that in Chapter 80 in the Non-Discrimination Act. We talked about what our stated policy goals are. This is not a council shall. This is a stated policy goal. This is not something that is binding upon council. It's just a mission statement, essentially.
And here's what my concern is with this, is that when we established the youth commission, it was expressly said that it would not be funded. That's what was expressed. In order to get it passed, that council at that point said that we would not fund it. And so this language is purposely put in here because we're not taking away from any organization. We're not taking away from roads. We're not taking away from public safety. We're not taking away from any other type of infrastructure or economic development. What we're doing is saying that we're dedicated not just to youth, but to other social services. People that's in need of food, people that's in need of housing, people that may be homeless. This is the commitment that the city of Statesboro, this is what that language is saying, that we are committed to. And the reason why you put it in this language is because you're right, we don't know what other councils are going to do. But I feel that we have to have a strong stance when it comes to helping serve the most vulnerable people in our community. We spend millions of dollars on public safety. This right here, we've estimated that this may bring in $300,000 a year. And the only thing we're saying of that $300,000, we spend $150,000 helping the homeless, helping our young people. That's all we're saying. We're making that commitment. And so that's what the whole purpose is. I think that this is a huge opportunity for us to expand our ability to help people within our community. But at the end of the day, our budgets say very clearly what we're dedicated to, and our budgets have not reflected that we're putting any money into youth. And
That's
I
what
think
you guys
that
voted on last time, so there you go. That's what we voted on. We
That's right.
voted not to give money
That's
to a
what-
youth organization.
Yeah.
Voted not to raise that.
yeah, and
So
some
these are
and
decisions
some
we made.
council members was avid that they did not want to do that because they didn't believe that was the space for this body. So with that being said, I firmly believe that the language should reflect and allow us to be able to support those commissions. I think that needs to be changed, but other than that, I think it should stay.
Councilwoman Mack?
And so,
Yes.
Well, I haven't heard from you guys yet. I haven't heard from the ladies to my right. Like to hear from
I've been firm on where I stand from the day I swore in. I believe in the youth, and I'm very avid about, you know, the homeless. When we add it in or how we add it in, that I'm open to. But that it needs to be implemented somewhere in our ordinances to address these issues, because this is a problem. It really is a problem. And when I am out and about, people are calling me all of the time because they don't have a place to stay. And we don't have anything here to support that need. So I'm very avid as to where I stand on this issue.
and what's crazy is that this is peanuts compared to our budget.
This is an ordinance that governs.
So the other 50% could be
John,
hired new police officers.
John,
You told
John,
me, I've got your
see?
text where you said you said the studies show
Mhm.
that liquor stores are gonna
Yeah.
hire crowd.
Absolutely. I've
I
been
wanna put
very
some workforce
adamant.
though.
I've been open and transparent with all information that I've received in regards to this matter. And at this point right now, what I firmly believe is this right here. We spend millions of dollars. What's $150,000 for our police department? We'll spend that in 2-3 trucks, right? You know what I'm saying? We allocate millions of dollars for public safety, not just for our police department, but for our fire department. One year, we spent $500,000 on vehicles for our police department. The last meeting, we spent $266,000 on a tractor. But we won't put a line item in to serve the most vulnerable people in our community. And then when we talk about giving $150,000 for the homeless, for our youth in our community, this is an issue for this council? Not even for this council, it's not for the council, it's for certain individuals.
Mr. City Attorney, what is the title at the top of this ordinance?
Retail package sales of distilled spirits for consumption on premises.
These are rules for liquor stores. If we want to have a discussion about children, about cops, about youth, about funding, about budgets, that's for the budget. We have a process for that. These are rules for liquor stores. Let's make rules for liquor stores. And we can talk about spending the money we make from the liquor stores once the liquor stores are up. But until then, all we're doing is bringing politics into what should be business ordinances that govern the operation of these facilities. I do not understand why this is even an issue. It shouldn't be in there. We're gonna start getting individuals that wanna put individual little things in there. That's politics and for budget time. This is for rules for liquor stores. Let's focus on that.
Council.
Let's take it out.
Council members, you have a decision to make. The position of your mayor is that we spend millions of dollars on infrastructure, millions of dollars on public safety, whether it's our fire department or our police department. This is an opportunity to use funding that's not taken away from anything that we're doing to serve the most vulnerable people in this community. Council, the decision is yours.
I am for taking both of them out.
Okay, all right.
I make a
And so-
motion
and so-
then, I make a motion to approve,
Coun-
I make a
Councilman,
motion.
You have
This
not
is
been
what I'm
asked,
allowed
you
to
have
do.
not been asked
I
to
don't
make
need
a
to be
motion.
asked.
Councilman, we are
I
still
don't
not,
need to be
we're not
asked.
finished hearing from the other council
I can
members.
make a motion whenever I
You
want.
do not, your interests do not surface, you don't go over them.
I can
Let
make
them
a
have the
motion
opportunity
whenever I
to
want.
talk.
I can make.
And
a
I'm not
motion.
recognizing it. Okay. Council, Sherry Barr, do you want to see it stay or go? Or do you want to make a change to it?
I want you to come back to me.
Okay. Councilmember Mack.
Mr. Kane, can this be done? Can it be in the ordinance the way that it's worded? Can,
Absolutely. I wouldn't put it there otherwise.
Because it doesn't do anything.
So if it doesn't do anything, we can leave it.
Please, folks, don't listen to him. Listen to your attorney.
Well-
He's not an attorney.
And he shook his head yes.
Well, I said it's not, what I was saying
It's
earlier,
not binding.
it's not binding.
Yeah,
But it is,
okay.
but sometimes it is important to make mission statements. And but.
But probably not in the
binding.
binding.
It's the stated policy law.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, I can see both points. I hear what Mr. Boyum is saying about we're trying to make rules for how people can open package stores. So I hear that, and that's not what this is. And I kind of like the idea, it makes me feel better about bringing more alcohol into our community. If as a group, the majority of us are thinking, well, yeah, we're gonna have it come in, but we're gonna do it as safely as we can figure out. And we just wanna let people know that our intent is, well, we've got this new money to dedicating it to dealing with the problems it's gonna bring. So I can see both sides of what you're saying.
And so can I ask the question, I'm sorry to cut you off, who made the decision for the 50% to go to youth services?
During the work session, that was my recommendation, during the work session.
And so if that was the mayor's recommendation,
Recommendation.
hold on, if that was the mayor's recommendation, then I think we should take John's recommendation just as serious. I mean, I'm not saying that 50%, or I don't know what percentage, but if that was the mayor's recommendation, then, and I'm gonna be totally honest, we were over here kinda like, I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Christina Patterson.
Christina got up, we were kinda like, wait, when's it? There. Oh, everybody over here, I didn't look to this way. So if that was your recommendation, let's honor it, but also John has a voice too, so let's honor that. And I do not agree that 50% should go to youth and 50% should go to police. I do not agree with that. But let's come to some equal medium that everybody could be happy. Because it's not about, oh, I want my money to go here, or I want this percentage to go here. We have to do what's best for Statesboro, and we have to agree on it. So could we come to some type of agreement? And then we also have to honor what Bill said, because he's saying that this is not even really what we're voting on today. It's like one more thing we got here to vote, I felt confident and ready, and that was something else.
This has been in from day one. When we had the first work session, that's when we put it in. And at the end of the day.
I agree that it was in, but I just
Yeah.
wanna let you know that I wasn't the only person
Okay.
who was confused.
This is an opportunity for, the reason why it was put in during this section. It has nothing to do with the operations of that. So let's not muddy the water with that. What this has to do is, what do we do with this new revenue stream that we now have? And so during the work session, I asked staff, hey, put this into that so that we can allot 50% to youth and social services needs. And the purpose for that is because we did not have, we've never allocated funding for that. We've never put that aside. And so I put this in as a new stream because we didn't want to, the thought process was that we don't want to take away from anything that we're already doing. And so that's what the thought process is. And so this was done during the work session. It was just like everybody else made recommendations. Everybody made recommendations as far as the distance between them. Everybody made recommendations as far as not having a cap on it. Everybody made recommendations in regards to what the distance was going to be between the housing, public housing. All of these recommendations, everybody's recommendations came to the board. And so how they got there, how we got to that space is that, you know, I recognize John has a point, everybody, but there's a lot of things that's associated with this that I made a lot of concessions on. I walked away from the cap. I let you guys decide what the 1,000 yard situation. I made a lot of concessions, made my piece. I said everything. But at the end of the day, this is the one thing, this bill right here is totally council. This is the one thing that the mayor said, you know what, I think we need to put in it. So.
Don't make it personal, because it's not.
This is what's best for the city of Statesboro.
No, I understand what you're saying, but it's like you walked away, you wanted to do this, you wanted to do that, but it's not like, we're like, oh, we're not gonna do anything that the mayor wants to do. That's not my stand. I just wanna make sure.
That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is that I've been working with council. What I'm trying to show is that I've worked with council. That's what I'm trying to show.
Okay.
And so what I'm doing is asking council, is to support this particular initiative that I would like to see as a part of this. And it's, you know, at the end of the day, you know, if we don't do it here, maybe we can do it during the budget, but we have not. But I don't wanna see it that way. I wanna see it, I wanna make us make a stand. We got gangs taking over our children. We got gang fights at Statesboro High School, 3 fights in a day. We can do something for our kids. Let's be deliberate about this.
Yes,
That's
you're
all I'm
right.
saying.
You're right,
But-
man. Let's be deliberate about this and talk about it at an appropriate time, which is the budget time, which is, you know what? We can talk about putting more than the 50% excise tax. We can talk about taking money from the general fund and putting it towards this stuff. We can talk about whether 501c3s are a good place to put the money. We can talk about all that stuff when it is appropriate during budget time, not when we have 30 people out here wanting to know what the rules are for liquor stores. These people are all like, what are we talking about? This is about liquor stores. Let's put the rules together. If we want to talk about this, we can. But I do want to remind council, we have the authority. We vote. It is our
That's
decision.
right.
I appreciate that you're working with this, Mayor, but
Oh,
ultimately,
yeah, council.
it is the
yeah,
5
council
of
votes.
us
Yeah,
that
council
decide
have the vote.
how
You're
this is
absolutely
gonna
right
go.
about that.
And
And I
unless we're
realize
gonna
that.
sit here and nitpick these percentages all
Let's
day
go ahead,
long,
let's go ahead and
just
take a vote.
this out.
Councilman Boyd, you have a motion? Let's go
Yes,
ahead
I
and
do.
it. Yeah, make your motion.
I will move, to approve the first reading of ordinance 2022-01, removing section G. Is that the right one? Sorry. I don't
That
know.
is the one on the use of excise tax.
Thank you.
Well, hold on, Kenny, before I vote on anything, if it is removed or if it stays, it's still a discussion that we have to make, right?
Absolutely.
Whether it's now or later, we still have to come back to this discussion to determine where the funding from liquor package stores go. Is that what you're telling me? So if I vote to remove it, we still have to have a conversation about what we use the money for
Yes.
from package stores. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
If it stays in, then what?
You still have to.
We still have to come back
discuss the
in.
package.
So it doesn't matter if I say yes or no, we still gotta discuss it.
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanna be clear. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, we do have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'm not ready to vote on it yet, we're still discussing.
Well, we can still discuss.
All right, any further discussion?
I'm okay with leaving it in, but I think we need to allocate exactly what percentage and what's gonna go where. That's my stance on it. I don't have a problem with it leaving or staying if we still have to talk about it. But I think that everybody's voice should be heard and everybody's opinion should be heard. It shouldn't just be one person.
All right. Any further discussion?
So I'm leaning more towards this is an opportunity to make a statement of intent, a goal. I hear what you're saying, Mr. Boyum, and for you, you want it to be all business, but our business has consequences. The decisions we make impact, and alcohol is one of the huge ones. So I'm leaning more towards thinking that we do need to have, that this is a good opportunity to state, yeah, we're bringing in this extra money based on alcohol, but we intend to try to offset the damages it's gonna cost. I see this as a good opportunity to leave it in like it is and to honor what Mr. Riggs says by nitpicking, by saying, Venus, you don't like 50-50, what number makes sense to you?
Why nitpick now when it doesn't matter come budget time? We don't have to even listen to
Well,
this.
if
I mean,
it's
if you
not
wanna
that
put
big
it
of
in
a
there
deal,
as
just
some
leave it in.
political
Leave it in.
statement, fine, but when you start talking
Okay,
numbers
then,
and things
so
like
that's
that,
what we'll
it's
do, we'll leave it
meaningless.
in.
I'm sorry, I put a motion on the floor. So
Okay,
the
is there a
motion
second
still
to the
there.
motion? Seeing that there is no second, is there another motion to approve the ordinance as is?
I'm sorry, I still need to discuss and get John's number.
Okay. All right, John.
Or John's made a number, Venus, what's your,
Go ahead, Venus.
I don't know.
My thing is we leave it in and we can discuss numbers later.
Yeah, leave it in. Listen, we all support public safety. You know, and matter of fact, I brought the idea to staff. I was asking staff, what are some of the incentives that we do to encourage police officers to stay? Public safety is something we're going to pay for. We're going to pay for that. I go through other cities, I see the vehicles other police officers are riding in. It's not these Explorers. I look at the police stations that they have, it's not the police station that we have on Grady Street. It's not, they don't have the future system. They don't have the technology. Our police officers are trained above and beyond all standards. We are going to pay for public safety.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so that's my thing, but what we're not investing into, this is the opportunity for us to invest into it. And you're talking about public safety, I'm quite sure a good percentage of the crime that we have is because of young kids. Those young kids involved in gangs. And that's how we're trying to reduce and make our community safer, by getting those kids properly trained, properly supported, and get that modeling behavior. We are working to cut crime. That's what this is about.
I don't see how it's working.
It's not, because we ain't did anything.
We've done
We ain't done
something.
nothing. We ain't done nothing. And that's why we getting our ass kicked. Our young kids are out there joining the gangster disciples. They murdered a kid in one of our parks.
Right.
Blew his brains out in our
to be
parks.
arrested.
Our parks. And we're doing nothing to engage our youth. We're giving them to the gangs. We're giving them to the Bloods. The Bloods had 3 fights in school. And we just giving it to them. There's more than one way to keep our community safe. It ain't all about suiting up and booting up police officers. It's about actually giving children a choice.
I think we all agree that there are more things that we can do for the youth, and I think as a council, we are doing some things for the youth, and we're not saying that we don't want to do it, we just have to figure out the correct way to do it. I don't know if that's what you guys feel. But I think that we have done some things in the past, we are changing and trying to progress. We did the youth commission last year, when they had the jobs. I mean, there's things that we are doing, and we need to do way more. We need to do more, but what's the best way possible to do that?
I think right now we just need to vote to move forward so we can
Yeah.
get through the agenda.
Yeah, let's get it. Yeah,
We need to
let's
get through this
in and
agenda,
keep moving.
let's just get through it.
Is there a motion to vote to keep it as is?
I'd like to make a motion to leave it in, but come back to discuss how the funding and what percentages are spent where at another time. Can I make that motion, Kane?
Yeah.
Are we,
No, you gotta pass it now.
we need a vote on the first reading that's been
Yeah.
presented. That's what we need. Of course, these discussions will be fleshed out in full during the budgetary process.
Mhm.
Each contract is going to have to be individually composed, individually reviewed and approved by mayor and council. What's in here now is these policy goals. We have those elsewhere in the ordinance.
Okay.
This is not beyond the pole. This is not abnormal. We have these in other places. However, actually, it's just a mission statement. They're saying that this is what we intend to use the excise tax proceeds on. Of course.
But it's not set in stone.
But the specifics are going to
Okay,
have to be.
leave it in.
Leave it in.
That's-
All right, so we have a motion to vote on it as is, correct?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Wait,
You have to leave the language in. That's basically when I say as in. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Barr, go ahead.
So there's one other thing separate from that before we move forward. I wonder if anybody on council has concerns about, what I understood Kane to be saying about the state has now given us the responsibility to say, do you want everything to have to be 200 yards from anything owned by an educational facility? We got a lot of educational facilities in Statesboro. So do we want to leave that in, or do we want to take advantage of the fact that we have the option to reduce it or take it out? And Mr. Chapman was encouraging us to take it out. I don't have a strong opinion on it, but I'm just wondering if anybody else on council does. I can see both sides as usual, but I am a little concerned about 18 and 19-year-olds, don't want to make it too convenient for them. And I can see that it complicates it when we got so much educationally owned property in Statesboro that it's a pretty big limit. So I wondered if anybody else had an opinion, everybody else on council had an opinion about whether to leave that like it is or reduce it.
go ahead.
I think everybody gonna say the same thing. Go ahead,
It was
John.
brought up to me, last night, and of course, I looked at our zoning map, like I did last Thursday. It's, they serve alcohol at football games. That's Georgia Southern property. I don't know, anything close to, let's say, the practice field, the soccer field, you know, on Fair Road. I mean, there's no buildings there. I don't think there should be, distance limits for that,
For what?
for like the practice field.
Campus?
Yeah.
It's either campus or it's not.
Yeah.
You can't
Yes
pick
or no.
out specific buildings.
I would say take it out.
I feel that it does need to be some type of restriction. Maybe we could reduce it, but just taking it out kind of rubbing it the wrong way.
Now, to be clear, we can only remove the campus, college campus, not the rest of the schools.
No, just
I'm
the
thinking
college
of young
campus.
adults and not thinking about public schools.
No, young adults.
Do we want to cut it in half to 100?
I'm okay with 100.
17.2. Let's get specific for no reason.
I would say 100 feet instead of 100 yards.
I mean, the school is bordered primarily by a 2- and 4-lane highway, so take it out.
I agree with parameters, and when I look at 18 and 19-year-olds, they still can't tie their shoes. So I do believe in, setting some parameters. I do believe in a reduction in the parameters. That's just where I stand on it.
So I'm hearing two people say take it out and two people say reduce it, or call it a tree. Will you say? take
I mean,
it out?
I really do believe in some parameters. A reduction in the parameters from the 200 yards to 100 yards, I'm fine with that.
So can we do?
That one ain't really a big one for me. I'm just trying to get to the agenda.
Yeah, can we, so do we want to do 100? You comfortable with that,
Just somewhere to
John?
be.
Yeah, I'll compromise 100 feet, 100 yards.
100 yards. Sharon? Venus?
I'm good with that.
Paulette?
I'm good with it.
Phil?
Should come out.
Huh? Well, folks say 100.
Got it.
Okay. All right. So, is there a motion to approve with, as is, with the reduction of 100 yard, from 200 to 100 yards for the university and college?
You got some questions?
Yeah, this is not time for it. Yeah, we have a public, we have a space for that. Yeah. So is there a motion, and then, if there becomes a motion, then that's when he can come up
Okay.
for further discussion. So is there a motion for that?
Yes.
Okay.
For what?
For what I just stated, the motion is to leave the ordinance as is and reduce, with the reduction of 100 yards for college. All right, now Al.
I'm just confused on what the 100 yards really accomplishes. If you take a football field, that's what we're talking about. And I understand what Paulette's saying, but 18 and 19-year-olds, like I said, they have responsibilities for everything that benefits anything else. But when it comes to something like this, we say they don't have responsibility. They're not allowed to be in there 21 years of age. So if they are in there, then it's a company policy of whoever's running that facility of why they should be in there, they shouldn't. 18 and 19-year-olds aren't going to this liquor store. And if they are, we have a problem with people. But being able to walk 100 yards or 100 feet or 200 yards, they're going to get to them if they want to. Just not me.
All right, thank you. All right, any further discussion?
Yes, sir. 100 yards, is that gonna be from property line to property line, or from building to building, or how's that gonna be?
Okay.
You know what, we can make that building to building, because,
Yeah,
like
I prefer building to building. Is there a stipulation for space concern?
Yes.
The state is from the property line to the front door. Council solely has the discretion. Council cannot get into specifics of that. All council can do is reduce that amount from 200 to whatever council decides on. We can't change how it's measured.
Okay.
Because the bottom line is, it does not matter. We do not want to approve something that the state does not. So
Okay.
we just need to be very simple in the ordinance so that the state can apply our standards when when reviewing the application on their side.
Okay,
Yeah, that's all.
all right,
Then that's the college campus.
all right. Any further discussion by council?
I'd just like to make a comment about the 18 and 19-year-olds and other decisions that they're allowed to make and responsibilities that they have. That's a little bit different than alcohol, because alcohol is a toxic substance that can affect and damage an 18 and a 19-year-old's developing brain. Their brain is still developing. And the last part of the brain that develops is impulse control, which is that maybe I'll go in here and try to buy some liquor even though I'm not of age, and good decision making. So I just think that I look at it as a parent of someone who is 19 years old, and I've been around looking at college campuses as a parent. And if I go into a town and there's a lot of liquor stores right up at campus door, it's gonna affect my decision.
Right, any further discussion?
The only thing I'm worried about being property line to property line is the road is not 100 yards wide. So that would eliminate any businesses being across the road from the campus.
All right. All right, thank you. Any further discussion by council?
Real quick on that, is that as the crow flies or as the crow walks, as we discussed before? So
As the crow walks.
So you'd have to, if you're on Fair Road by, I guess, Food World, you have to go to the nearest crosswalk and then back across?
Okay.
It's the most direct route of travel. I
That's
will
why.
state what the law says. I can't get into any of that.
Once you get to the sidewalk, it's straight across, it's not.
So you did, like, so just be across the street.
All right. Any further discussion by council?
And I'm kind of at a loss for words. This is kind of brought up, I mean, it's just brought to me 12 hours ago, you know, I know that Darren Van Tassel, he's not gonna open up a liquor store, but he's open to have somebody else opening one at his place over there by the new stadium. Well, right across the street is the ball fields and the shooting center, but it's divided by a 5-lane highway, or 4-lane.
How many yards is that? I'm not a yard feet person. Maybe I should be, sorry.
20 yards.
Oh.
Yeah.
And let me,
10 foot lane, 50 feet.
and if I could just clarify one thing for everyone's benefit. Just because you say you reduce or remove this restriction does not mean that vests a right to open at that point. If an applicant comes in and they're proposing to put a liquor store directly across the street from the freshman dorms or something like that, y'all get to say, you know what, this is not a good place for it. You know, like, yes, it is allowable under our ordinance, but this is not a good idea. And we have to, and the discretion of mayor and council on the individual application process cannot be overstated. Because mayor and council does have that discretion to say, you know what, it's gonna be okay in that public shopping center, but that does not mean it's gonna be okay across the street from the freshman dorm or across from, you know, a vulnerable sort of place. And I want y'all to keep that in mind, that each time an application comes over, y'all are the ones that decide if it's a good idea or not. And I just want to be very clear on that doing something with this restriction does not mean that gives someone the right to open wherever the heck they want to. I mean, y'all still decide if it's a good idea.
Okay. So even if we leave the 100 yards in, we can still have an appeal process?
What would happen if you put, the way the state does this is not, if we have it 100 yards in here, and we decide that an application within 100 yards is one that we want, that's not something we can get around by resolution. We have to actually, it has to be allowed by ordinance for the state to do it. I don't know if I'm being clear on that. What I'm trying to say is that if it's 100 yards in the ordinance,
That's it.
y'all are not going to be allowed to say, you know what, it's going to be okay here in the public shopping center, so we're going to do a resolution to go against our ordinance. Because the state's not going to issue that license. It has to qualify in the written enacted ordinance.
Okay. So it has to qualify, so,
We'll take it out.
so take it out.
Yeah, just take it
Okay.
out.
All right, so
No,
this,
I don't, give me a second. Could we take it out, but then say, you know, except for college dorms or college classrooms, could we say that?
No,
No.
We just.
But we can deny it if someone comes up and tries to put,
Yeah.
open one across from the freshman door.
Yeah.
So they're gonna take it.
they still have to come before us.
So we can't put that wording in there? Like,
Put the wording in there, but if someone wants to put one someplace that, you think would be a perfect place to put it, but it's still, you know, it might be across a 5-lane highway, but it's, you know, within that distance, then they can't even appeal to us. It's just a non-issue, there's not gonna be a liquor store there.
Well, I like to have the wiggle room. We can take it
Yeah.
out, comes before
Yeah.
council. If it's
Mhm.
next to a freshman dorm, you already know what my answer's gonna be.
Yeah.
No. But we have that wiggle room now. Thank you for making that clarification. We can take it out.
I'm sure there's wiggle room in all this. We shouldn't be very specific.
So we got 2, we're taking it out. 3? All right, so we got 3.
4 or 5.
This isn't really, this isn't how votes should be taken.
No.
We don't poll people, we take a vote. and we
Oh
put a
my
motion out
goodness,
there.
Phil,
Read
will you
Robert's
let me
rules,
run the
bro.
meeting? If you wanna sit in this spot, you need to run for the office.
I just want you to
You
read
need to
Robert's
run
rules.
for the office. Run for the
I
office.
just need you to read Robert's rules,
Yeah, with that, no, I've read Robert rules.
not very clearly.
Yeah, it's funny, y'all wasn't doing it before I came.
Come on, y'all. Come on. Let's.
Yeah,
come
I'm so
on.
sick of this dude.
Come on.
With this, repeat your question, Leah.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor right now to approve it with the reduction of 100 yards. So
Okay.
we
Yeah,
either
there was
need
a
a
motion, yeah.
second, or you can make an amendment or whatever.
Okay, Paula, would you like to make the amendment to approve it with,
I make the amendment to approve it with taking out the 200 yards.
is there a second?
Well, I'm not ready to vote on it
is
yet.
that just this
Okay.
part, or is this?
That's the whole thing, it's the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so John, so you need further discussion?
I just wanted to double check, we're, 3,000 square foot minimum, right?
Yeah.
1,000 yards, between liquor stores, or 500? What do we agree?
1,000 now.
Yeah.
What's that?
We said 1,000 now.
1,000?
Yeah.
Let's change it, yeah.
Okay.
Are you suggesting something?
You okay with
No,
that?
no, hey, I think 500 is fine, but I'll go along with 1,000.
Okay.
If y'all, I mean, if I'm outnumbered.
Are you wanting to look again at the 3,000 square foot?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I think that is an excellent way to keep the number of liquor stores down in the city. That's gonna keep a lot of folks from, trying to open up. And 3,000 square feet, that's a pretty big store. That's a big store. So I'm fine with that. 1,000 yards, and taking out the college requirements, and, then we can, for each one, we can decide.
Yeah, I concur with John said.
We're legally obligated to.
Sir?
So is
I
there-
said we're legally obligated to do that.
Right, as we are legally obligated, that's right, we have to approve.
Is there a second to, the motion? The motion that's on the floor, is there a second?
The motion is to approve it, just like we talked to
Yeah.
now. And leaving in the, vision statement about committing 50% of the new money to social services.
Yeah.
I second the motion.
Okay, and this does include the elimination of the 200 yards?
Yes.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay?
Okay, so,
You was opposed, Pat?
No, well, I said,
Oh, okay, I was like, okay.
all right,
but then again, that doesn't mean I'm not gonna vote against it next week,
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Okay. All right, let's show that agenda item 6 is passed. All right, we move down to agenda item 7.
Mr. Mayor, just to make it clear, we haven't passed an ordinance.
No.
We've still got 2 more weeks to
Yeah.
vote on it again, and we
Yeah.
can not vote on it and change it all kinds of different ways.
Yeah,
So,
hopefully that ain't the case.
hopefully, it's not.
All right. Consideration of a motion to approve the downtown master plan for the city of Statesboro. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, I think it was almost a year ago that we started the process.
Bye, guys. See you next meeting.
Sorry, you're on. There. They're good enough. I got 2, 3.
Mr. Penny, please.
Mayor, members of the council, at the, I think it's been about a year ago that we started the process of developing a downtown master plan. And since that time, we've had a number of stakeholder meetings, we've had interviews with interested parties. At the last city council work session, you had a presentation from Woody Giles from TSW, the consultant that has led the process. And today, at that meeting, we told you that we would bring before you the master plan for the city council to adopt that master plan. And so I stand before you today asking that you would adopt the master plan, and I simply would just say to you, a master plan for us is a guide for our downtown. It has a blueprint to it. And there's one item that I just want to call to your attention as it relates to that master plan. One of the critical points in the, and it's actually university-oriented development. I just want to mention that housing is a very important component of downtown and making downtowns come to life. And so we support university development, but we also support other housing opportunities in the downtown area. And so we just want to make that clear, but we do recommend to you the adoption of this master plan as a guide for moving our downtown forward.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council? Seeing that,
I'm sorry. I know we're trying to get out of here, but this is important too, even though it's a guiding vision, not a law or an ordinance. So are you suggesting, Mr. Penny, that we amend something to emphasize that we're just as concerned about local resident housing as we are about the university housing?
I would like to ask that be done, because it sends a much larger statement for someone that gets our master plan, that they would only think that we're trying to create university housing in our downtown. We'd love to have university housing, but we'd like to have one of these high-rise for an older person like me that might eventually not want to do yard work, and bringing people with disposable income into our downtown area, and even affordable housing in our downtown area would again create life in our downtown. So housing is a very critical component to breathing life into our downtown area. So I would recommend that we amend that to have a broader housing statement.
And one that includes density, focus on higher density, because I know the first one is infill development. Then you look at it and it shows duplexes primarily. Duplexes is not going to get the density and the concentration of people down here that you need for it to.
You gotta have a higher number.
We need density.
Yes.
So do we need to table it till next meeting and come back with some additional language?
If that is the council will, let me work with staff and work with the consultant to make sure we get the right statement. But no more than past the next 2 weeks if council is willing to allow me to do that. Yes, sir.
can we pass it today and make an amendment, or no?
Yeah, you can. Again, it's just a guiding, it's
Yeah.
just a guide. If council is comfortable, we can bring you the language back, it's really up to you.
I'd like to
It's
see
not
that
like an
density of
ordinance.
language. I'd like to see the language, I'm sure.
So
Sharon
council,
would too.
whatever you please.
I'd like to
2
see the
weeks.
language,
Wanna table
let's
it?
put it off for 2 weeks, table it till next time.
All right, is there a motion to table?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move down to agenda item 8, other business of the city council. All right, seeing there's none, city manager comments.
Mayor and council, couple items, one item. At the last meeting, city clerk is passing out to, we had, under city manager comments, I brought to you, request from Statesboro for, $4,500 for, food drops, and council asked that we do $7,500. And what you have before you is an agreement with Feed the Borough to do 5 drops, so that's the total of $7,500. And I wanted to ask the council, if you're so inclined, if you would approve this item at this time.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor and council. Other thing I just want to mention to you is last Saturday, we had a vaccination clinic. And we vaccinated 66 people, and we gave away 57 gift cards. So we have 43 left for the next one. We have not set the next clinic, but probably in the next 3 weeks, we're gonna see if we can have another one on Saturday. The numbers are good. I mean, if we get 66 folks every time, they will make a difference in the community. And then, did want to mention the State of the City address. I put it in your FYI. Will be on, instead of next time we meet, will be on February 22nd at 7:00 p.m. at Statesboro High School. Mayor, I know you want to mention anything, but I want to make sure the public knows as
Yeah,
well.
public knows.
That will occur on the 22nd at Statesboro High School. And then, Mayor and Council, at the conclusion of this meeting, we are planning to go, for those of you that want to tour the apartments on Hill Street, we're gonna leave after that. They'll be open from like 10 to 12. Recently, there was an article in the newspaper about the apartment, so we want to take an opportunity to at least walk through before people start living there.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any public comments? All right, seeing that there is none, move down to agenda item 11, consideration of a motion to enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters, real estate, and/or potential litigation in accordance with O.C.G.A. 50-14-3B. Mr. Penny, I believe we do have need for executive session.
Yes, we'll leave it now.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, before we call for that motion, can I just make a point, please, about the city vaccination clinics? It came to my attention that we have local people who want to be protected, but who have a real issue with needles. And so I just wanted to point out, everybody listening, and Al will let other people know, that the DPH and city staff are happy to work with that. If you walk up and say, I need a shot, but I don't want to look at it, we can accommodate. You can be guided and you can be told when to look away. So don't let phobias or concerns about needles prevent you getting vaccinated if you want to be protected. I just wanted to share that information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, any public comments? All right, seeing that there's none, we'll go ahead and go into, is there a vote to go into executive session? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Mr. Penny, we will not be